Welcome to the Full-Time Creator Podcast, where you'll get wisdom, tips, and inspiration from creators building their dream businesses. I'm your host, Zach Swinehart, and I'm here today with Cassie Butcher from Cassie's Cure. Cassie's a self-care coach, self-love advocate, and wellness consultant who helps women and secret men like me live their best lives by prioritizing self-care. She has a knack for posting these really insightful thoughts and reminders, and her whole thing is having you think about what self-care means for you. And I have a tendency to just go on her Instagram and tear up when I see something that just like hits me right in the heart. So I'm excited to chat with her today to get like basically her insight on what the best self-care rituals are for creators specifically, and also just, talk to her about her own journey as a creator. So hello, welcome.
Good morning.
Maybe a good place to start would be talking to us about how you got started with Cassie's Cure.
Yeah. Okay, so how did I get started with Cassie's Cure? So I got started with Cassie's Cure when um a very unfortunate situation. I was an undergrad and my first love, my ex-boyfriend, broke up with me and he cheated on me. And I was so heartbroken, and all of my friends were like, "Oh, it's first love's curse." And I ended up being like, "No, it's a little deeper than this, y'all." And they're like, "You'll be okay." And I just wasn't feeling okay.
Hmm.
And we had a counseling and psychological services on campus. We called it CAPS. And I went in and I was like, "I'm gonna go see a therapist." And I went and I was like, "My boyfriend broke up with me and he cheated on me. And I feel horrible and I can't stop thinking about it." And I got to work with her and really unpack a lot of emotional baggage. And then some of the assignments that she tasked me with was like, writing out my feelings, like really figuring out what self-care looks like for me.
Hmm.
And I created like a private little wellness blog and I just would just write out how I felt. And it felt really good to write how I was feeling. And then about a year later, I decided to make that blog public. It was like a scary,
Mm.
vulnerable, courageous kind of type of thing. And I was like, dang, everyone's gonna know my business because it was just like if you knew me, you knew what I was talking about in that blog. And ironically enough, people were like, "Oh my gosh, I've felt this way in my friendships," or "Oh my gosh, I felt this way when I got my heart broken. Oh my gosh, I've had these kind of family concerns as well." And like the amount of people who were just like, "Thank you for sharing this. And I am super glad that you shared how you worked through that because I never thought of that." I was like, "Oh wow, I was hiding these feelings and these emotions because I was like afraid of being judged." When like so many people are like, "Me too," and
Hmm.
normalizing and comforting and like commending me, kind of like saying like, "Thank you for sharing." And after I made the blog public, I was like, you know what? I still had some emotions left in me, and I like writing down my feelings, so I created a poetry book. And I got a little bit deeper in my poetry book, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, this specific poem, this one about like daddy issues, this one about insecurities, I resonate so well." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm just putting out stuff for me." And I always tell people like Cassie's Cure is a play on words because it's literally like my cure,
Yeah.
essentially, for just getting well and just really learning to love myself better. And then obviously it's what I share with other people to how to do it as well. And then obviously the pandemic came, which is so funny because my friends are like, "You should really start a business. Like you should host workshops, you should have retreats. Like you're the one friend who gets everyone together. You're the one friend who knows how to organize it. Like you should do it." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do it," at the top of 2020. And then the pandemic came and I was like, "Oh, how am I gonna what? Retreats where?" But I was able to still really I hired my first business coach to kind of teach me the ropes of really how I wanted to present my business and everything. And that's when I got into finally being able to host wellness retreats, self-care events. And a lot of people were like, "Do you do one-on-one coaching?" And I was like, "Not yet." Because I was like, "What am I going to tell you? I'm not a therapist." That's the way I was thinking about it. But then I started doing coaching and thinking about the things that I could teach people that didn't require therapy. But
Mm.
shortly after, a lot of my clients were like, "You feel like a therapist." And I was like, "I don't want the government coming after me." So I decided to enroll back in school to become a therapist, and I'll graduate in May 2025.
Wow. Nice.
But so now I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and add that component so I can help in that way. But it
Yeah.
was really like a self-love and self-healing process that I feel like my therapist assisted me with, and me just taking um, gaining the courage to act on my creative ideas and my creative forms of expression. And self-care has always been an interesting topic to me, even since I was little. Like, my family will always be like, you're so empathetic for every single little thing. And so I've always looked at empathy as one of my biggest strengths, and really knowing how to like be there and sit in stuff with people, but not take on their problems at the same time.
Mm.
Like, let me sit in this with you and feel this with you, but also I don't have to take it home as if it's my own baggage. And I think that's allowed me to hold some really good space for people. So just want to continue doing that.
Wow. And so you've always been able to hold that space, or this has been cultivated more in recent years?
I've always been able to hold that space. And
Mm.
I was reflecting on why. I grew up being the youngest of four. And I come from a low income family. And being the youngest of four, coming from a low income family, there's really not much you can do. I can't go and get a job for anyone else to help.
Mm.
I probably can't even tell you what to do because I'm the youngest, so I have no idea what kind of bill you're talking about. But I can hold space for you. You can cry in front of me and it's okay. Like, so that's kind of what I would do for my siblings and my parents. Like, I've been, I feel like fortunate enough, which is an awkward word, fortunate enough to literally see my parents cry in front of
Mm.
me and to me and vent to me. And my older siblings cry and vent to me. And I'm like, wow, I'm the youngest. Like, you would think I'm supposed to cry and vent to you all. And I do. But seeing how they've been like, I don't know, it's like a good release talking to you. And that's what my clients tell me. My friends always tell me, they're like, you just have a way with like words, or a way with listening, or a way with support. And they're like, it's just so unique. And I'm just like, oh, thanks. Like, I'm happy that I get to do that because we need that in this world.
Yeah. Do you feel ever that, like, especially as you're going in this kind of professional direction as the coach, maybe this is me coming at it from a background of codependency, but wondering, like, do you ever feel like you have your identity wrapped up in that, where if you can't support somebody in the way that they need it, it can feel like a failure? I sometimes run into this with coaching. How do you manage that?
I've felt like that before. But as I've grown to learn myself, even deeper into this therapy program, my LMFT program, I'm learning that like there's only so much that I can do for someone. So while I
Mm.
can want to do more, the reality of the matter is there is a cap on how much I can help you. And that's okay because you're not meant to get all your help from me specifically. It's
Mm.
okay to know, like, oh, this is how much I can give you, and I can help you find the rest that you need from another person. And that's the importance of community. I can't be, all of my followers, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to DM all 110K of them and say, this is what you need to do. There's going to be some other places where they get more support and more helpful support. And that is okay. That doesn't take away from who I am or what I'm capable of. And I think just learning that over time has allowed me to kind of operate in a more calm stance. And even
Mm.
sometimes when people do come to me, I'm like, do you want help? Or you just want to listen here? You're just trying to vent right now. Like, what do you need from me? And then I'll let you know if I'm able
Mm.
to give that to you, or if not, or maybe some other places you can try looking, just being okay with that.
I love that. If somebody's listening who, let's say, is running a coaching program and or has a course, and they have their objectives that they want to get a student to, and they're trying to determine how to set boundaries of, like, what is realistic to hold myself in terms of helping this person solve their problems, or what expectation. I know better now that we had the pre-interview. I know better than to ask you what should they do. So I'm just going to ask you, what questions should they ask themselves to help themselves set what feels like a good boundary or a good expectation?
I think one of the things that they should ask themselves is, what all can I do to a point to where it doesn't begin to exhaust me?
Mm.
Helping other people shouldn't feel exhausting. So if you're just like, I have to do this and I have to do that, like, I don't think you're helping the right way. Because I
Mm.
feel like when it's good help, you're like, I'm excited I get to do this. This is right up my alley. You'll know when it's not up your alley because you start trying to be a coach that you're not. You start trying to be someone that you're not. You start trying to do things that you were not intentionally planning on doing within your course or within your business. Um, and then also taking the time to read the room though. kind of like how I mentioned to you a little earlier, like I noticed a lot of my clients kept saying you felt like a therapist. It wasn't like three people telling me this. It was like, oh my gosh, almost after every call, this is like my 100th coaching session. I'm like, all right. And y'all don't know each other. Some of y'all are on the West Coast, some of y'all are on the East Coast. I mean, like you're all in different states and we're ending our call and you're all telling me I feel like a therapist and then doing my research into becoming one. And I'm like, and what that entails. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I can see, all right, yeah, I think I actually want to take that step and do that.
Mm.
So really being able to see what people are asking for in your course. Sometimes we get caught up in being like, here's the solution right away when our clients or people who buy our course could be asking the wrong question. So even thinking that as well, like, oh, you came to learn how to create graphics when it wasn't necessarily that she wanted to learn how to create graphics, you wanted to learn how to be creative in its own essence. So
Mm.
really being able to pulling the sheet back and saying like, well, how would I teach someone or inspire someone to be creative? I'll give them this knowledge on graphics, but I also want to tap into their creativity muscle. Do I need to create a worksheet on tapping into your creativity before I create a lesson on telling you now here's how you digitize your creativity? So really being able to have those different levels of introspection. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's a great tip. I'm thinking about this with a different community that I run and how I usually will ask like, what's the intended end result, but then not necessarily do that digging into, okay, what's this really for and how can we go directly to nurture that? By the way, totally forgot to give your dog an intro. For people who are watching the video and see this poofy hair, can we get an intro to this cute dog?
This is Riley. She is my one and only child who knows that I am currently recording on live right now. And she's like, I have to be in your lap because people have to see me or just a portion of my hair. She'll be 5 on October 25th. She's an only child. And yeah, she's just like my favorite little cuddle buddy and just always just there to be on mom's lap or my stomach or my back or sometimes even my forehead if she can
If
find
she can
comfort
swing
in
it.
my
Yeah.
forehead.
Well, for everyone on podcast audio only, just know Riley is the cutest.
Aw.
So, in terms of where Cassie's Cure is now,
Mhm.
are you in a position where you're running it full time or are you still doing it as like a side hustle or what's that looking like?
I am, I feel like I'm doing it full time. But I do have a 9 to 5 job as well, simultaneously. So I guess you can consider it a side hustle if we're using societal terms and norms, but it literally feels full time for sure. Because there's a lot of consulting. So, and there may not be like a gig every single day, but there is that me going and speaking, doing whether it's at conferences, departments booking me to do workshops, me doing random pop-up shops with a merch component that I have, me hosting my own workshops and retreats. And I'm like, that's more than just part-time for
Yeah.
sure. But also still having my full-time job. And people always ask, like, how are you running a business, working at a university, and going to school? They're like, how does it all mesh? And I always tell people, I don't know. I really don't know how I'm doing that. I'm like, it's God himself. But I do also say like, because of the fact that everything that I do kind of aligns,
Mm.
essentially, that's really how I'm doing it. Like, yes, I'm in school to become a therapist. But a lot of the work that I'm doing in my classes is kind of also in helping me, enhancing me as a coach and as a leader. So it complements one another. The work that I do in my 9 to 5, whether it's like tending to college students, well-being when they're living in the dorms and like their mental and emotional health and like their education. Like I'm an educator at heart. I got my first
Yeah.
bachelor's. I got my bachelor's in liberal studies, my first master's in higher education administration, and then now I'm getting my LMFT. It's like I'm teaching all around, and now I'm just learning to teach about wellness in my business and my personal life. So I feel like they all complement each other, which allows it to feel less um divided and
Yeah.
strenuous. Like they all go hand in hand for the most part.
Yeah. It's like different facets that are all working towards this kind of grand vision
Mhm.
that is Cassie's Cure.
Yeah.
But I have to ask the obvious question of like, how do you pull it off? Like, do you have are you pulling back hours at work so that, because from seeing your content output with Cassie's Cure, like I assumed by now you were full time because I'm very impressed by how all over the place it is and stuff. But but with you not being full time, like, are you? Yeah, I guess how are you managing? It seems like you have maybe a small team for Cassie's Cure, or what's the team structure like?
Yeah, yeah. I do have my personal assistant. And then I kind of actually have friends who volunteer because they want to learn.
Mm,
So they're like, oh my gosh, I kind of probably want to host my own workshops. I'll help you with this one. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I can teach you the ropes of creating your own, like here's the background planning that I do. So kind of having support that way. For my program, it is online. So, and then when it comes to content creation, a lot of my content is also created by the things that I experience. Like, I'm trying to think of what my last post was, which I cannot remember. Oh, it was journal prompts, essentially, that I had posted yesterday. And that is a result of me just journaling. So sometimes if I'm having a
mm.
conversation with someone, I'm like, ooh, this is content. And I can take note of it, but while still enjoying my conversation. So I don't have to necessarily scramble and be like, oh my gosh, what can I post? What can I post? I'm like, I talk about life. I talk about self-care all the time. The content at this point in my business just flows to me naturally. And usually I use auto posting apps. Essentially, I'm like, okay, I'll make the content primarily on the weekend. I use auto posting apps for the content that goes on my main page. And then on downtime, I'll hop in my story and be like, hey, y'all, what's going on? Let's chat. Because I also don't want people to feel like they're talking to a robot. Which I also noticed, I feel like if you are creating a course, being able to still engage with people after you put the course up, letting people know ways that they can still contact you, it's going to set you apart. Like one of the things that I notice about women who buy merch from me or who do one-on-one coaching with me or anything, they're always just like, I love how I can still talk to you. I love, like, sometimes on Instagram they'll be like, oh my gosh, you replied to my DM. And I'm like, yeah. And they're just like, well, you have so many followers. And I'm like, okay, like, you're still a human. I'm still a human. Like, I don't want to get to 1 million followers and not talk to any of y'all. So I don't want all these people to buy my course and then I never speak to you. Like, you bought my course for a reason. And so really being able to still trying to find those ways to be intentional about still talking to your community and your audience, whether you're randomly going live on Instagram, live on TikTok or anything, like just making sure that you're engaging with them in as many ways as possible. Or like even in my email newsletters, when I send out my weekly motivational stuff, I'm always like, reply back to this email, answer these questions. And then they
Mm.
answer them and I will respond back. And they're like, I didn't get to respond back to that email. And I'm like, no, I told you to reply. I'm going to reply too.
With your course, do you have it structured with like a community ongoing component or like a cohort based thing, or is the support that you offer, it's kind of like unexpected extra icing on the cake kind of support?
It's usually if I have a course of individuals do the course together, because I like doing it live, which a lot of people say is taxing, and it is. Oh, if you do it too many times. Right now, I'm not hosting the course live because of work and school and everything. But I will create like a little group chat for people to stay connected, whether it's through Instagram, whether it's through, well, that's primarily the main one that everyone has. They'll all have Instagram. So
Mm,
we'll have a group chat on there and then sending motivational things or being like, hey, y'all, I got this event coming up. Do y'all want to come? Do y'all want to meet each other?
mm,
If you're local, where can I find a space for us all to have dinner? Essentially, that way it's not too strenuous on you all. But I know it's a little bit harder for individuals who follow me and are on the East Coast.
mm,
Like one of the things, I tried to switch up sending out my self-care calendars, the time that I would send it out. And I was like, okay, I'm going to send it out a little bit later. I'm going to send it out at 10 a.m. PST. And I usually was sending it out at like 7 a.m. PST, but I was like, oh, maybe that might be too early. Literally almost everyone on the East Coast was DMing me like, hey, did I miss the calendar? It didn't go out. It usually goes out at this time. I got so many, and I was like, I didn't even notice that y'all noticed this. Like, you know what I mean? But I
yeah.
was like, oh, snaps. Everyone was like, did I miss it? What's going on? Can you send it to me? And so it let me see, like, oh, girl, don't switch that up. Leave it how it was. About
Yeah.
like 30 people DM'd me. I was like, let me not. I don't have to fix what's not broken.
Yeah.
But being aware of that as well.
Wow. I have this Fathom note taking tool and I mark some of these little gems that you've said. And I feel like that's a huge one of just the the subtle impact of consistency, even if it's not like published consistency, published promise, that I think
Mhm.
is such a great compliment to you that people noticed when you didn't post it and thought they
Mhm.
missed it. That shows how much people are loving these. And by the way, seems like a good time to ask, if I wanted to download your self-care calendars, where would I go to do that?
Oh my goodness. Yes. So you would go to cassiescure.com/links and then you'll scroll and it'll say free self-care calendars. And yeah, you'll basically be added to the queue to receive the self-care calendar on the first day of, well, now with the audience voting, on the last day of the previous month. So
Okay.
you would receive it on August 31st. At first, I was sending them out like on the first, and everyone's like,
Mm.
can you send this out a day before? I want to print it out. And I'm like, okay. So you'll get it the last day sent to you to your email in a PDF format for you to be able to print out. And so it's pretty cool. You get like 30 to 31 days of self-care goodies. 29 on a leap year in February. But yeah, I've been able to really nurture my audience needs in that way, giving them little self-care ideas. I like that.
Yeah. And for the listeners, it's CASSIES
Hmm.
cure.com/links plural. And the link is on there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Something that I'm noticing as we chat is it seems like you've done a really great job of keeping a like essentially a really good pulse on your audience and having a lot of conversations and stuff. Even with this calendar sending the last day of the month thing, like what do you do? What structure do you have for that? Like, did you send out a proper survey? Was it just something people were asking for? How did you get access to that input?
Yeah, I actually posted in my story, my IG story about it, and I had asked them, I was like, "Hey, y'all, I am always thinking of ways to make this calendar better. Um, I'm wondering, I know some of y'all have mentioned that you wish you could print it out sooner. Do y'all think that I should stick to the day that I send it out being on the first, or do y'all think I should send it out a couple days before?" And just taking a poll and seeing how many people are like, please send this out the day before. That actually would be more impactful. I feel more prepared for the month. And so then I was like, okay, you know what? I am going to test this out. I will let people know, like, based off of what y'all have said, I'm going to try, I'm going to test out sending out the calendar on the last day of the previous month. And then if this goes well, we'll stick to this. If not, I'll go back to my original method because I see that I have the numbers on how many people that was touching. And the goal
Mm,
is to be able to touch more of our community members. And people were like, okay, cool. Yeah, try this. So I really try to focus on testing things up. And because I share the story behind my self-care calendars. I created my very first self-care calendar in March 2021.
mm,
I did not post it on social media until July
mm,
2021 because I was scared. Because I was like, they're going to think this is so corny. I was like, people are going to think this is so corny. But I was like, I like it. It's little things for me to do. So I was like, I'm going to use it for sure. And then I posted it in July and I was like, hey, y'all, I made this self-care calendar. And people were like, oh my gosh, I love this. And I was like, I gotta stop doing this to myself. And people were like, oh my
yeah.
gosh, I love this. And they were like, is there gonna be one for next month? And I was like, come again, say what? And they were like, are you gonna do one for next month? And I was like, I really didn't think that far, but yeah, sure, I can. And then it just each month that it grew so organically. So people were like, there's gonna be
Mm,
one next month. And I was like, okay, so this is something that y'all are gonna want every month for, I don't know, say the rest of my life, but like for, you know what I mean, for a while now. And it grew into me really being like, oh my gosh, something that I was just like, oh, just one month, 30 days, sure, fine. To where like that's the standard. And because I saw how many people wanted it, um, in the world of you need to create a lead magnet, I was like, that is the lead magnet. Like that is
mhm,
the one that's gonna help me build my newsletter because I'm like, oh, I can do a hey, do you want to do a printable version? Because they really just were on Instagram. And you'd have to zoom in to kind of see what each day entailed and stuff. Whereas I'm like, well, now I'm doing a printable version or a PDF version. Join my newsletter community. And I was just like, oh, snaps. Like it kind of just came to me because I was like, lead magnet, I don't know. I didn't want to post the, oh, make 30 affirmations, make X,
Mhm.
Y quotes and stuff. I was like, I wanted a very original lead magnet. And it is. I haven't seen anyone else doing self-care calendars. Well, I have started since I've done it. A lot of
Yeah.
people will be like, hey, this person's doing calendars now. And I'm like, it's okay. I don't own self-care. But prior to when I had first started, I wasn't seeing anyone else do it. So I was like,
Mm.
this is the perfect, unique lead magnet to kind of even just introduce my brand to people to let them know like what I'm about and what I hope to give them in my newsletters and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love it. It's hard to believe that there was a time when you didn't do it, because it's just, when I'm thinking of you and the brand now, I'm thinking of that. And because all your posts are essentially like a distillation of the
Hmm.
self-care calendars. And
Hmm.
I even had my sister go download your self-care calendars. So I read them. I was like, she would love this.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, thank you.
um, so I gotta get I went down this rabbit hole because I was excited to dive in, and I forgot to even talk about this whole transition into doing it full time. So right now you're doing Cassie's Cure part time. When when do you think you would quit your university job to be doing Cassie's Cure full time?
Mhm. So the plan is, got to make sure none of my supervisors are listening. No. But the plan is, once I graduate and get my LMFT, the hope is to open up my own private practice and then really just hone in on being my own boss in that capacity. That opens up more room for me to kind of really focus more on Cassie's Cure. So it's
Mm,
I like to call it like a slow burn. Right now, it's still like, all right, we're mapping out the foundation. We're putting the brand out there. We're getting people to know what it is that I do and how I do it. I'm getting my license to become a therapist, figuring all of that out. So I would say maybe in about four more years.
mm.
Yeah, maybe like 4 more years.
What I'm wondering to myself, because you have a large audience, and I'm curious to know what, because I don't know if you feel like you have platform dependence on Instagram or whatever. I don't know what your audience on Insta versus email subscribers looks like, but suppose you, without being a licensed therapist yet, suppose you had a paid offering that was like pretty passively fulfilled, like maybe a course or maybe a more hands-on implementation of the self-care calendars. Like say they took a little cheap thing where you could show you doing some of these exercises for yourself if they're not comfortable doing self-care yet, whatever the thing was. Suppose you had your passively fulfilled thing and you were making like, I don't know, 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month. Would you still work your university job for 4 more years?
I would say I would still work my university job for at least two because I really like it.
Mm,
I like what I'm doing. The current students that I have, they haven't graduated yet. So there are other times that I'm like, these are my babies. And it's not too taxing on me. And college student mental health is something that I'm very like passionate about as well.
mm,
So I still want time to figure out how I can also be able to tap into that through Cassie's Care. And whether that's like having different departments on campus come and book me to come and speak to these students. But right now I'm like, okay, this job is, I'm enjoying it and I don't want to like give it up just yet. And I'm
okay.
like, um, while it's like, oh, more money is nice and you want your time back essentially. But I'm like, I also kind of love what I'm doing here. Like
Yeah.
at the
Well,
same
that's
time, I'm
lovely.
like, my contract for this current job is 4 years.
Mm.
And so being able to say, all right, I finished this and I'll step boldly into the next chapter kind of a thing. But we never know what the future holds. But right now I'm looking at it like, no, I want to stay here for a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean I think that there's maybe a romanticization of quitting your job to do the business full time. And when we look at your background with like COVID, for example, some people could see that as a roadblock limitation, but perhaps its presence caused you to take the brand in these kind of more digital directions that are now providing a really solid foundation.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
maybe this constraint of you staying at your day job while still growing Cassie's Cure, it might be the kind of thing that makes you really good at scaling, hiring, building processes so that it can run itself without you. And that's going to benefit you later. So it could work.
Yeah,
It'll be
most
fine.
definitely. I do think that these experiences are allowing me to really build a solid foundation. I feel like I have definitely seen coaches surpass me, which is like great. And then they come back and they're like, I'm exhausted. Like, yes, I
Mm,
hit the six-figure mark, but I feel like I'm afraid to show up, or I'm like, they're like kind of like in a I forgot like the little wheel that like a rat runs in, or they're just like I have to keep
hamster
going.
wheel. Yeah.
Yes, a hamster. That's yes, a hamster wheel. And I'm just kind of like, no, I'm just taking it moment by moment,
Yeah.
being like, okay, let me work on this foundation. Let me work on this portion, like, and not rushing that process, and kind of really being able to see the beauty of it. Because I feel like now when I go places, my brand speaks for itself, rather than me having to over explain what I do. Sometimes people already A, either know who I am, or B, when I do share what I do, they're like, oh, wow, that's amazing. That's cool. Like, I have the website, I have the social media platforms, I have an amazing newsletter community, I have testimonials to say, hey, Cassie's merch is this way, or Cassie's workshops and events are this way, or Cassie's public speaking is this way. Like, it is like a slow burn to really be like, this is who I am and this is what I do. And I feel like I'm operating at my pace, not at the pace those business coaches tell you that you need to operate at during Black Friday to buy their course, when they like do the FOMO, like, you need this. If you don't buy my course, you will never make $1 a day in your life. And I'm like, whoa, that is very that that like hikes up the anxiety, where I'm just like, no, I'm figuring it out. Like, it's okay. Like, I'll get there for
Yeah.
sure.
A wise woman once said, you can go slow and all the things that you're hoping will work out for you can still work out for you.
Hmm.
Cassie
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Yeah, no, that's really smart. I think it makes a lot of sense. Like if you get into this state where you feel like you have this high monthly burn rate with a lot of expenses and you have to have all these things going, it can feel like hamster wheel and people get caught up and then there's like no escape. Whereas you're in this situation where you can go slow, be intentional, and build the brand you want without feeling rushed. I think that's lovely. I marked it as a nice little gem because I think it's a really cool takeaway. Um, so I see myself, I told you before, I always go deep and I get long-winded. So I'll try to wrap it up so that I don't go so long. So, Cassie, we were just off interview talking about how the rest would flow. And so I was asking her basically how nuts and bolts we should get for the rest, and she wants to be nuts and bolts. So you have what I would consider to be a big ass Instagram following, but I also am not an Instagrammer, so maybe you don't consider it to be very big, but I think it's big. You have got like as of today, what, like 250,000 followers or something like that? It was like, to me, huge. 220,
No,
many hundreds of thousands of people.
no, let me see. I might have to go back. It's 110K. See, that's way
I thought
under.
it was 200 something. Okay, but 110,000, like only 110,000. So what is for your email list? How big is your email list?
My email list is 10K.
Okay.
So my goal is always to try to be at least like 10% of that. Yeah, for my email list. Like, if you could be 10% of your following, I'm a little bit under shy, which is okay. It's not a bad thing. But yeah, that's the number. That's where we're at. We've grown to 10K newsletter community individuals.
And I don't have enough personal context. Like, do you have other friends who have a primarily Instagram driven like lead gen source to know the 10% is like the norm that's target, or what is your, I don't have the context there. What do you think?
No. Okay, so I was working with a coach, and I can't remember all that we talked about it, but 10% for me was like being able to reach 10% of your audience. And I've seen some videos, because primarily they say 10% is usually the percent that engages the most, essentially. And so I always tell people are like, oh my gosh, you had fake pages created of you. That's how you know you've made it. And I'm like, no, actually, that's really annoying.
Yeah.
But I noticed that the people who engage on my posts are primarily like that same 10% of individuals. Those are the ones who are like, I'm not just here to be another number. I'm here to kind of really, really hone in. Like I have more time to really hone into what you're saying. The other followers are like, I love what you're saying. I probably just might not look at it absolutely every day, but I do like the idea or the topic of self-care. So for
Mm,
me, I like to be like, okay, this is for of all this huge number, I know that I am primarily probably only really tending to 10% of them, just based off of seriousness and their like deep interest. And so for me, I'm always like, what can I do for this 10% of any kind of platform that I have? And how can I really tailor my content to their needs in that moment? And yeah, kind of in short.
cool. I mean, I wasn't expecting 10%. So I think 10% sounds like a good metric because Instagram doesn't make it particularly easy for you to promote like a lead magnet or something like that. So to me, 10% flowing from Insta to email, that
Mhm.
seems just fine.
Yeah.
Um, and you mentioned earlier that you like to do some testing of who you're reaching. Is that just you seeing who, like what visibility you've had on an Instagram post, or are you going off of email open rates, or what are you using as your metric of like who you're getting in front of?
So I look at analytics on everything that I have. So for sure, for email, I pay attention to. I use this platform called Flowdesk. Um, I don't know if anyone knows about it, but I love Flowdesk because of the simple fact that they make it easier. If you struggle with being creative or design on emails, they come up with so many different email templates to where you just go in and you type in your message and you can add your picture, but they already have a section for the picture. Like it's just really beginner friendly essentially. And they have all these different kinds of workflows and forms that you can create to
Mm,
manage it. And then obviously the analytics, they let me know like your emails are primarily opened around this time. This is how many people open this specific email. This is how many people click the link in this specific email. So they're very detailed in analytics, and it lets me know like, oh, okay, I should for sure keep sending this kind of email out.
mm,
Or, oh, people were more receptive to when I designed the email this way. So being able to look at analytics that way and say, okay, this is how my audience likes to see my self-care knowledge show up in their email boxes. That's one of the things that I appreciate about the email. And then for Instagram, I don't even look at likes because I feel like my likes are such a, it's just kind of like I don't want to say a lie, but they're such a high. That's it.
mm,
I look at the shares and saves. If you
mm.
save my content, I know I hit home. Like I could have like maybe 500 likes on a post, and then I will have like 10,000 saves. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know this hit
Wow.
home. You're saving this to come back to this later,
Yeah.
where I'll have 10,000 shares. And I'm like, okay, if you're sharing this with your community and you're saving this, to me, you want me to hone in on this topic a little bit more. Because sometimes people love to be like, I feel like people are introverts on social media. They will look at your page all day long and not say anything, just like in person. Doesn't mean that they're not in
Hmm.
the room. They're just like, I'm just looking, I'm just here. But I'm like, when you're saving, it's a little bit more behind the scenes for the introverts, and extroverts too. And so for me, that lets me know, like, oh, okay, they really liked this, which my analytics for the monthly calendars were just going through the roof to where I was like, yeah, I have to
Wow.
continuously post these monthly calendars. Like this is like if I don't post anything else, I'm gonna post a calendar. If I was to be like, oh, I have to post something for the community to touch the masses, it would be the calendars for sure.
Nice.
Because those things go far. There, my analytics are always like through the roof for my monthly self-care calendars. But recognizing like, oh, they like this, and then coming up with ways to engage with them more. So sometimes for their self-care task, I'll be like, DM me how this calendar was for you this month, or DM me something you would like to see in this calendar. Because now I'm putting your self-care ideas in there as well. And they're like, can you do something about drawing? Sure. Okay. On Thursdays, we're going to draw how we felt today.
Mm,
It's just like some little activity. So now you feel like, oh my gosh, this calendar is a part of me, even outside of what Cassie's telling me to do as well. So really getting people to kind of engage with those things. I feel like also based off of what I put in my calendar, that also gives me a gauge of my audience. My audience loves to self-reflect. I love to self-reflect. So I'm like, I have all the self-reflection questions you need. I got you for that. If you want an outside activity, because I have formatted my calendar now to kind of have themed days. So I have physical wellness Mondays, journal prompt Tuesdays, Wednesday, it's some type of like a pampering activity. So whether it's like a
Mm.
nice little facial or a bubble bath or a massage. Thursdays are self-reflection Thursdays. Like, so I really make you reflect on choices that you've made in life and like how they impacted you. Fridays are freebie Fridays. So you have your free day to you choose the activity. I'm not telling you what to do. You just choose what it is. And then Saturday, and Sunday, I mix them up with so many different self-care things, but like kind of having a theme for each day. Recently, I've started incorporating links. So I'll be like, listen to this podcast today,
Mm.
or I'll be like, do this 5-minute yoga exercise for my fitness days now, or so to kind of incorporate a little bit of physical activity and stuff. So that's been pretty cool. Learning how to expand those calendars. People are like, you should sell these, and they want me to make physical copies now, and I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. Like, what was a 1 month dream that was postponed for 3 months is now like everyone's like, I need this every month. Are you going to make physical copies? Are you going to sell it for the year? And I'm like, I never thought about that. But people
Mm.
ask me, like, I want this. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll see.
I could see that being so cool, like a really nicely printed
Mhm.
like journaling book combined with, wow, yeah, that's cool. The developer in me is like, ooh, how cool would it be if I could mark my preferences and the recommendations the calendar has to be tailored to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't work with printed ones though.
Yeah, right, definitely. There's a lot going on. So now
Mhm.
I'm just kind of based off of all that I've done with people, I actually am creating a self-care workbook. So it's going to be like
Cool.
52 different worksheets for people to do. And just like you just do one worksheet a week if you want to. But yeah, I'm going to create a
Love it.
self-care
So
workbook.
if I'm on your email list, I will hear about that.
Yes, yes.
Cool. So I will go to cassiescure.com/links to hear about
Mhm.
it.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, before we go, because this has been long and I'm sorry, um, I guess we can close with this simple question of what would your number one piece of advice to your younger self be?
My number one piece of advice to my younger self that I feel like also my older self has subconsciously acted on, um, is that I would say it's okay to test things out. Like a lot of the things that I've done in this lifetime, I've done while being scared. And I do it with a lot, like even starting this, but I'm like, I don't know. And then I do it. I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. So just kind of like, I already know what the outcome is if I don't do it. Why not see what the outcome is with me
Mm,
doing it? Whether that's going to school, applying for the job, starting the business, creating the course, posting the Instagram post. Like we already know what it's like if I don't do it. Let's figure out what it's going to be like if I do it. And 9 times out of 10, I typically love the results of doing it.
that's great. Yeah, I love that. I've never thought of that reframe because I keep having this thing come up and I've tried to just say, okay, dude, it's not about not being scared. It's about your tolerance for being able to be scared and still do the thing. But I
Hmm.
love this reframe of, I know what it's like to not do it. Let's
Yeah.
go find out what it's like to do it all the way. That's
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
So any questions you wish I'd asked that I didn't, or any parting thoughts or anything like that?
Any questions that I wish you asked or any parting
Yeah.
thoughts? I mean, I always like to share with people that your creative process is your creative process and your self-care is your self-care. Don't get so caught up in allowing other people to define everything for you and letting everyone else tell you how you should create a course and what your course should exactly include. Like, leave some room for you to still show up in your business, for you to still show up in your products, for you to still show up in your courses, for you to still show up in your self-care journey. Like, leave some room for you to think and you to make a choice as well. I think is very important, because you don't want to get lost in doing things how everyone else says to do it.
Mm,
And so if you are creating a course, leave some room for those who buy to be creative as well. Like, like, oh yes, Cassie taught me this, but I want to try this. Like, encourage people to still include their opinions in the things that you teach them, the processes that you share. Um, And I think that makes a drastic difference for sure. It allows you to connect better with people when you leave room for them to be a part of the conversation or to sit at the table as well.
Yeah, I think that's been a big theme, is like the idea of first principles and like audience feedback and conversations, two-way street kind of thing. I feel like that's like describing you in a nutshell, these two things, like what matters to you and how do you have that two-way street. Like, that's great. I love this. So many good takeaways. So for everybody listening, again, if you want to stay in Cassie's world, the place to do that is cassiescure.com/links. That's CASSIESCURE.com/LINKS. So Cassie, this was lovely. I'm going to hit stop, but we have to not disconnect. But for everybody else, thanks for being here, and see you next time. And then Cassie will stay. 1 second. What a great episode, eh? I feel like I left this one with a bunch of ideas that I'm going to go implement in my own online businesses. So if you want to get all of the links for Cassie's stuff today, I'll add it to the website. So you can just go to ftcreator.com/episode 1. And I'll have the link to all of Cassie's stuff there. That's just ftcreator.com/episode and then the number 1. So not spelled out. ftcreator.com/episode 1. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a good review, that kind of thing. It helps the show gain a little bit of traction, and it helps you make sure that you keep getting useful wisdom and tips just like you got today on a consistent basis. So if you did that, appreciate it, and see you in the next episode.